Okay, YouTubers, men and women, boys and girls, whoever you are watching, you are welcome to listen to some of my impressions after being here for 1 week in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Um, I've been here many times before, but basically just stop over. And because of the lockdowns and all that stuff, I have not been here since I think last time I was here was in 2018. So I was living in the Philippines at the time in Davao City, and AirAsia opened up a direct flight from Davao to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So I took the opportunity at the time, and I went here a few days, and then I went on to Bangkok probably. So anyway, I think for many people, Kuala Lumpur and Malaysia is not so well known. There are not so many long-term white guys living here, and I just want to give some impressions because I've been living for years. I mean, almost 9 years in the Philippines in total, and 3, 4 years in Thailand. I'm living currently now in Thailand, and I've been living in Indonesia and Bali in particular for a couple of years. So, what can I say about Malaysia? Like I said, I've been here many times. First time was in I think it was in January 2006 or February, around that time, 2006. And this country is very different uh, from the surrounding countries. I also been to Vietnam, by the way, and I've been to Cambodia. I've been to India in this part of the world. So I have some experience about the countries. And number one, what I want to say, if when I'm here in Kuala Lumpur, is that I almost feel like I'm in India, especially in the area where I stay. I stay in the Indian area, so to speak. And actually, now I'm just very close from Petaling Street, which is Chinatown. But what you will immediately realize when you come to Kuala Lumpur is that there are a lot of Indian people. It's it took caught my attention all the first time I was there because I was riding in a taxi and I heard the driver. He was South Indian and he had on a local radio. And oh, it sounded like Tamil because I've been to Tamil Nadu a few times and I recognized their language. And I asked him, "Oh, is that Tamil?" He said, "Yeah." At the time, I didn't know anything about the history of Indians here in Malaysia. But if you are interested in having a taste of India uh, and you don't want to go to the proper country, you can have a India light version right here in Kuala Lumpur. So what I want to say about Kuala Lumpur as a tourist, I've always been here as a tourist, and but I also traveled some years ago. I took the bus over to Kuantan on the east coast of this peninsula. We are now on the Malay Peninsula, I think it's called. So I've not been to the other parts of Malaysia, but the roads are amazing. The bus was so comfortable and very affordable. And from Kuantan, I took the bus down to Johor Bahru, which is just very close to Singapore, just across the strait there. And what I can say, number one, is that people are very uh, different from the other countries. Most people here they have, but they are very friendly and very civilized. This used to be a British colony before. So Kuala Lumpur is something like almost like a Singapore light, I would say. I've been to Singapore many times, and quite recently also. Singapore is almost a bit scary. It's so modern and so expensive, and everything is like you need to have to use modern techniques to get around. Everything in Singapore is just like in dystopian future movie, while Kuala Lumpur is a little bit more livable, I think. So what I can say, number one, is the traffic here. Of course, in Singapore, the traffic is fantastic. It's very organized and no problem at all. Here in Malaysia, it's very walkable, in especially here in Kuala Lumpur as a capital. There are broad sidewalks, and usually they are not blocked up with all kind of street vendors and things like that. So even they have uh, made it possible for people who use wheelchairs to get around in this area at least. So the traffic is very civilized. There are not too many cars, and the drivers are courteous. And it's very easy to get around here just by walking, or you can take. They have a train, they have metro. I didn't take them this time. Um, and to grab a taxi, we call it Grab, the one here, is quite smart. You download an app called the Grab, and because when I took ordinary taxi, he charged me like three times the price for the same distance as I would get in Grab. So if you are willing to pay up what the taxi drivers want, okay, just go ahead, jump into a taxi and let him get your hard-earned cash, or you use something like Grab. So what I can say very clearly is that Malaysia is a multicultural country for a very long time. And when it was a British colony, there came a lot of people, especially from Tamil Nadu and also from Ceylon, as it was called at the time, Sri Lanka. They came over here to work in rubber plantations. They were not brought here as slaves. Some of them even paid their own way to come over here and get work. And so many of the, I would say the majority of the Indian people who have been living here for like generations, they are from either Tamil Nadu, South India, or Ceylon. But then there are also other people. There was a lot of people from Bangladesh. There are a lot of people from anywhere in India. So this is a very huge Indian culture in the middle of Malaysia. And so I like Indian food. I love Indian food. So that's what I've been doing here. I'm basically just eating Indian food, right? There was also a Filipino restaurant. Me and my wife, we got married here last week, last Wednesday. And she's from the Philippines. So yeah, we went to the Filipino restaurant, enjoy the food so much. Actually, it's better than what you expect if you go to the Philippines. So don't get tricked. Huh? The food in the Philippines can be a bit not up to my taste if you go to an eatery or a food court, but the one here in Malaysia was good. So they have their own culture here, as you know, and the Hindus, basically, the Indians, they are basically Hindus. Then you have a Chinese minority, which are, or is a very important minority here in Malaysia. And they have also been here for generations, and they are dominating the economy both in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in the Philippines, and in Thailand. So the Chinese have been very clever businessmen for. I mean, it's a part of their culture, right? And they tend to speak their own language. Now, to keep their Chinese Mandarin, I think there is basically what they speak. So they will send their kids to Chinese schools here. So the kids will be their mother tongue will be Chinese language and not Malaysian. So Malaysian will be taught like a second language when they get older. And so the Chinese they are basically uh, they have very strong work ethics, and they are very clever to make money. And that's what they've been doing, and they're doing all over the world. So that's just life. Singapore is full of them. Singapore was actually established by a British man, but it basically after a while it became almost like Chinese colony, which it is today. So this place, Kuala Lumpur, is very safe. Uh, it is quite rainy, especially during the late afternoon. There probably will come a rain shower, so you would probably need an umbrella if you want to walk around. So what I've noticed here is the Malaysians, they, of course, maybe you know the Malaysians, the Malay people, they are the original people here, and they are, in the majority of them, they are Muslims. So they speak Malay, Bahasa, Malay. And that language was actually imported by the Dutch, who were controlling what we call Indonesia. So the Dutch didn't want the Indonesians to learn the Dutch language. They actually wanted them to have a language that was very appropriate to use in the region. So I don't know all the details about it, but they favored Bahasa Indonesia, which is very similar to Malaysian. So if you have been to Indonesia and you come here, you recognize a lot of words that are much the same. Now in Indonesia, you will obviously have a lot of Dutch words in between, but here it will be more English words. So what I can say about this place is it's civilized, it's clean, organized, also a little bit boring, and it is quite expensive. But if you are a foreigner from the West, Australia, or it's not the West, but we call it the Western culture, if you have a lot of money and you want to enjoy, why instead of going to Thailand, maybe you should come to Malaysia next time. It's very affordable to rent the car here. The roads are fantastic. The food, however, is much more expensive here than in both Thailand, Philippines, and Indonesia. Now, it has to be said that the food prices, all commodities in the Philippines have skyrocketed. It has become quite expensive in the Philippines now. Also, what is good here about Kuala Lumpur and Malaysia is it's a hub, so you can easily go from here to anywhere. It's very cheap, affordable to hop on a flight to either Bali or Jakarta or Manila or Bangkok, wherever you want to go. So, but take the time and stay here and explore the country. And I'm now in a hotel room, which is super. It is in like smack downtown in the along the what I will call sky train. It's just a train going up over the road, yeah, the main road, and you have all kind of. We have McDonald's, we have all kind of stuff around the corner, just neighborhood, and the aircon is perfect. The bed, the room is immaculate. The price for this room, I pay 140 Norwegian kroner, which would probably amount to 15 US dollar for one night. But I'm on a budget, so this is just the exception. I usually stay in an Indian small place with no window, but still comfortable. And I pay maybe half of that, so I pay maybe $8 per night on that place. But it was fully booked tonight, so that's why I'm here. So internet is good in the hotels and in the street. I have a tourist SIM card. It works fine, and I would say that I really would like to come here another time and to stay, like to get some Airbnb or something like that, to stay for maybe, oh yeah, 1 month. The good thing when you arrive here is me as a Norwegian, I get 90 days on arrival visa waiver. If I come to Thailand, I get 30 days, but here I get 90 days. It's amazing. In Philippines, you can actually stay up to 3 years without having a visa. You just renew your visa waiver. So that's the great thing about the Philippines. And like in the Philippines, people here, they speak English. Not all of them, but most of them. So it's very easy to communicate with people. But people here, they are more like distant in a way because they have a job, they must work. It's very similar to uh, European nations, Western nations. People are busy with their life. They need to do something and work to pay the rent and the food and all those things. So that's if you come to Norway, you would think that Norwegians are cold and impolite, but it's just that that is not really the case. If you get close to them, they are very friendly and very polite. But in Norway, we have like a respect for privacy. We don't want to impose ourselves onto others, you know. So, but when I came to Bali for the first time in 2005, I was so amazed because the people were so talkative and laid back and friendly, and they would have the time to talk to me for hours, you know. And there was no taxameter running in Thailand. If you want to talk to somebody who speaks English, basically that will be in the tourist area, and you must buy a beer to the woman if you are talking to some woman there. Or it's always about money and time in Thailand. But here, you just you manage on your own in Malaysia, right? So trying to get some friends here in Kuala Lumpur, I think it would be difficult. But if you hop on a plane and go to Bali, you have friends immediately. I have friends still this to this day that I made back in 2005 in Bali. So that is the nice thing about Indonesia and Bali. The people there are more welcoming and open for friendship. And the same thing in the Philippines, obviously. But I would say the infrastructure in the Philippines is quite terrible. And in Bali, oh, the traffic is crazy. The roads are basically narrow and one-way road streets everywhere. You get lost without a GPS. You have a big problem in Bali even to move because of all the traffic. So I would say if you want to come to this part of the world, you should definitely check out Malaysia. Okay, thank you for your attention, and I hope you learned something from this video.